Hi, I'm Dr. Lindsey Coble.
Dr. Noelle Crosby, and we're the Sound Sisters, and this is the Hearing Diaries.
Welcome back to the Sound Sisters. Today we're joined by Dr. Ashley Goryl, audiologist, mom of three under five, worked in a private practice, former manufacturer rep, and now owner of the Hearing Doctors in Wheaton, Illinois. She's here to share her story, her business mindset, and the honest reality of building a practice with a young family. So let's jump into meeting Dr. Ashley. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it.
I'm so excited for the whole world to get to know you better. So let's start with telling them what drew you into audiology as a profession.
So, like most audiologists, started off in speech path, and then
Yes.
ended up into a intro to audiology class. And I think what drew me to audiology was the connection to better hearing and a better life. So, my dad has hearing loss, my grandfather had hearing loss, and being able to fit someone with hearing aids and truly changing their quality of life so impactful. And I think that is what really drew me to audiology. And it was a little bit more black and white. Now I know that's not necessarily the
Yes,
case,
that's what
but
I thought
back
too,
then,
Ashley.
Not
back
always.
then it was more black and white
Not
than
always.
speech pathology. Now I'm not so sure, but
Mhm,
I think the connection to people is what really drew me to
mhm.
audiology.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how so many of us wandered into audiology. I didn't even know what audiology was. I was
Same
Yeah.
used
here.
to
Me
speech
either.
path, and then I'm like, oh, there's this other profession over here.
Mhm.
But I know your first career profession or a career job was working at a private practice. So tell us how working at a private practice shaped the clinician that you've become.
So I think it was very, very impactful. My experience that I had, I was at a very large private practice for about 7 years. And that particular situation that I was in really, I think, gave me the confidence that I needed to be a clinician. It was very fast-paced, high turnover kind of
Volume.
situation. But it really gave me confidence, and the mentor there really taught me to think outside the box. And so we had learned so much in school, but there was so much, obviously, as you guys know, we don't learn in school. And so it gave me a real life experience, but not just your typical, okay, in and out, in and out. It was, how
Mhm.
can we solve this issue for this patient? They've been seen at 4 clinics by 4 audiologists. Let's really dive in deep here. And I think that a lot of the decisions I make today really were built on my experience as a clinician where I was in the beginning.
Mhm. And
Right.
then that's when I met Ashley after that.
Yes.
We both worked for the same hearing manufacturer. So let's talk
Okay.
about what did you learn in the manufacturer world that changed how you view hearing healthcare?
Or how did you
Um,
transition? I want to know how you
Ooh,
transitioned
Good
from
from
question.
clinic.
being a
Yeah,
So
that's a
private
good one.
practice to the
Yeah.
manufacturer world.
I
Yeah.
think so. I was the only audiologist in that particular location, and I think I just was feeling a little burnt out. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, where do I go from here?
Mhm.
And what do I do? And I really didn't want to just be in another clinic, but I felt like I had reached my potential at that clinic, and there was
Mhm.
nowhere else up. And if you know me personally, I'm always looking for the next thing, like to do better or be better or grow. And so I felt like I had kind of reached my capacity where I
Mhm.
was. And so I was like, what is completely different
Mhm.
that I can do? And so I decided to go and work as a rep for a large manufacturer. And that's when I
Mhm.
met Lindsay.
Mhm.
And we went through training together, and that's how we kind
From the
of
start.
bonded.
That's
Yeah.
the connection, the
Yeah,
bond.
that's the
Yes.
connection. It was just a super fun experience, and we kind of just hit it off from there.
Mhm. What would
That's
you say
wonderful.
during those years that we were reps? What changed your view of hearing healthcare the most?
I think for me, there's a couple things. One is seeing how a technology is built and what goes
Mhm.
into
Mhm.
creating a technology from
Mhm.
start all the
Right.
way to when it's brought to market. And I think
Mhm.
that's huge, and how it's considered, what clinicians are struggling with or patients are struggling with, and how to kind of incorporate that into new technology.
Mhm.
But I think also a big thing for me was being in hundreds of different clinics.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was in clinics in Wisconsin, and as you know, we co-travel with other reps, so even
Mhm.
in other locations.
Mhm.
But being in so many different clinics, hospitals, and seeing different processes or how patients are kind of dealt with or whatnot.
Mhm.
I think that that was super impactful and it taught me what I want to incorporate in my business and what I
Mhm.
don't want to
Mhm.
incorporate in my business. And I think that was super impactful in my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's so helpful as to be a rep because I was a rep for a
Mhm.
little
Okay.
while. So
Mhm.
I think we all were. So yeah, I think it's a great
Yeah.
experience because then when you do open your own clinic, you do have that experience of knowing, I don't know why that person would have done that in their office or, I'm not going to do that, but this I really like. And so you get to
Mhm.
pick and choose. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's
Definitely.
great. Now, were you also in the OTC world a little bit?
I was for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was asked when the manufacturer I worked for partnered with one of the OTC brands. They shared similar technologies in some sort, but I was asked to help in launching that into the market. And so it was a very small but mighty team. I learned a lot. I wore multiple hats, and so it really challenged me as an individual to look at all these different areas from marketing to creating the little brochures you have in your office to, okay, what, I mean, it was wild. But I was in that role for about a year. And then this opportunity became available. So I thought this was where I was meant to be.
Yeah, and you got into the OTC market like in the beginning when people didn't
Yes,
really
Mhm.
know or they didn't really understand what was going to happen with it, or so that must have
right.
been a good,
Mhm.
interesting
It
experience.
was very interesting, and I was the one being like, OTC is not necessarily the enemy. I think it's such a confusing market, and it's people were
Yes.
scared of OTC.
Mhm.
And I think as long as we as audiologists or, fitters know what it does, we know how to say, yeah, maybe this is where you start, or no, it's not appropriate. You need
Yeah.
prescription hearing aids. And I think just
Yeah.
knowing what it is, you don't have to be scared of it. You just have to know how to navigate through it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Such a good
Yeah.
way to put it.
Yeah.
During that journey, why did you decide ownership was the next step? So you ended your
Um,
manufacturer
yeah.
world. How did you come to ownership?
So I was the rep for the previous owner that had this
Yeah.
practice, and she had asked me a few times, "Do you want to come work for me?" And I said, "I don't know that I'll ever go work in private practice again, but when you decide that you're retiring or you're done," I said, "Just let me know,"
Mhm.
because I knew that this practice was had such a good foundation just from being the rep and knowing the
Mhm.
owner. I said, let me know when you're ready. And it was about 2 years later.
Mhm.
And she reached out and she said, okay, I'm ready to retire. I want to move out of state and I'm done. And I said, okay, let's chat. So
Mhm.
we chatted and she had multiple people interested, but I think she really wanted to find someone that wanted to carry on her core values and making
Mhm.
it
Right.
feel like a family here. And so it was just a good fit. And that's how it kind of worked out and kind
Mhm.
of fell together.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great. That's how I got my practice too. I was a
Really?
rep for the gentleman that owned it, and he was an actual dispenser, not an audiologist. So that was a whole different scenario for me because I had to, do everything for free,
Mhm.
testing
Mhm.
everything while I was learning and while I was training my patients about difference. And this was 20 years ago. So, things were a
Yeah.
bit 20
Mhm.
years. But yeah, so that's a great way of doing that. Now, what would you say about deciding whether you wanted to purchase the practice or open your own practice? What was the idea behind just purchasing a already successful practice?
Great question. I think, back when I was an early audiologist, I always dreamed of, I'm going to have my own practice. And then there were plenty of points throughout my career where I said, maybe this is just not going to be for me, and that's okay. I think after I became a mom, I literally was like, I will never open a practice. Like that's insanity now because of where my life is, and it just seemed crazy. And then when Sherry reached out to me and said, hey, I said, okay, this is the opportunity. So I think it just kind of fell into place where it was better for me to purchase instead of starting my own. And I know obviously Lindsay and I were very close in timing of when she started her own practice. And I was
Oh,
like, you are
okay.
so brave, girl. Like, you got this, but I'm going to go this way. But I think just the opportunity and the timing of it is what kind of led me to purchasing as opposed to starting my own practice. And in our area where we are, there's multiple practices. And I think for where I
Mhm.
am, it would have been a little more challenging starting from scratch as
Mhm.
opposed to purchasing a practice that had a really good, again, foundation and base and great patients. And so I think it just made more sense for me.
Right.
I think every market's so different and what makes
Yeah.
sense. And if there's
Yes.
the right opportunity of an established practice that financially makes sense, I think it makes so much sense. In those early months of ownership, what changes or priorities help you make the practice your own?
Well, through lots of tears and um it was hard. I
Yeah.
bought the practice and then 6 weeks later I gave birth to our third child.
Mm.
So everyone's like, "Are you insane?" And I'm like, "I think you have to be a little insane to do
Yeah.
what I'm doing." So yes. But I think the biggest thing is we wanted to keep communication open.
hmm
We went from one audiologist to two audiologists, one receptionist to two receptionists to just give the support to our patients and make
hmm
sure that they were taken care of. We changed branding. We changed our
hmm
color scheme to be very calm and welcoming. When you walk into our office, we really want you to feel like you're part of our family.
hmm
And working with my sister, it really does give that vibe. And so
hmm
people leave and they're like, this is like great. Like they
hmm
love that we're sisters and that we just have this relaxed kind of
hmm
culture in our office. And we really want to make people feel welcome. And we know no one wants to come get hearing aids, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not what people want to do most of the time. So we just try to do those things.
hmm
Yeah. So working with your sister, let's talk about how did, hiring your sister come about and what strengths does she bring to the practice that are different than yours?
So Taylor and I are 8 years apart.
Okay.
But she,
Wow.
yeah. And I love when patients they come in, they say, "Are you guys twins?" And I'm like, "Absolutely. Yes, we are."
We sure are.
But
Because you're the
yes, we
older
sure
one, so you
are.
don't mind that.
Exactly. But so I fit our dad with hearing aids right out of school, and she saw how it changed his life and how it
hmm
changed our family dynamic. And she's like, I think I want to be an audiologist too. And so she did. And then when I was making the decision to purchase the practice, after everything was, said and done, I really wanted to bring her on because I think or I know she makes such a great partner to me in the sense
hmm
of we are the same, but we're different in the sense of I'm a little bit more direct. I'm a little bit more, I guess that's the best word to say, direct.
hmm
She is definitely more relaxed, calm. I won't say I'm not sweet, but she's sweeter. Like we just have
hmm
these different personalities, and I think that's really good because some patients resonate more with her and some resonate more with me. And
hmm
I think we're very both like organized and on the same plane there, but I think we just mesh really well in that sense. But I also needed someone that I trust that
Yeah.
if I'm not here,
hmm
Right.
that I am not concerned about patient care. I'm not concerned about values or anything like that because I know that my sister is going to give just the same amount of care that I would.
hmm Especially like you said, you were pregnant when you bought the practice. And so
Yeah,
who more can you trust to take care of your patients and treat it like their own than your
yeah,
Yeah.
sister? It was like the
yeah. It
perfect
was her.
storm. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's
did
it.
she jump, like, did you know she was going to be joining the practice when you
Mhm.
bought the practice? Was that a plan or did that come later?
It came a little bit, I mean, at the same time, same transition. So it was
hmm
kind of like, I felt like I was a little nervous, like anyone else buying a practice, because I
hmm
was like, is it actually going to happen? Is it, because anything can happen when you're making a decision like this. And so until the ink was really dry, it wasn't decided. I was like, I want to make sure that this is really going to happen and it's not a dream. I'm pinching
Mm-hmm.
myself, but then it kind of just all fell into place at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. She started working for me pretty much immediately after I bought the practice, which was actually great because
I bet.
the previous owner and I had like a little transition period.
Mm-hmm.
And so that time I was in the back office credentialing, transferring account numbers. I mean, I was
Mm-hmm.
doing all that while Taylor was meeting all the new patients and she was kind of keeping things running so that I can transition everything before the previous owner left. So I
Mm-hmm.
think worked out really, really great, actually.
So perfect.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what does daily life look like as a business ownership with three little ones?
It's a beautiful chaos. It is truly just that. And I actually just saw something on social media that said, it looks like working moms or just, moms in general have everything put like going for them and they have it all under control. And it's really not that at all. It's that when we're succeeding somewhere else, we're lacking somewhere else.
I
Mm-hmm.
think I
And
saw
so
that
it's
too somewhere.
it's just
Yeah.
like this balance. And if I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing really good somewhere, there's somewhere where I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, our mornings are chaos. They're getting breakfasts and backpacks ready and getting the kids to school or whatever. And then at night, it's Legos, laundry, and chart notes. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, whatever we need to do to get it done. I'm really blessed with a husband that is just right there alongside with me through
Mm-hmm.
everything. And so there's nights where after the kids go to bed, he's cleaning the office, or Sundays we're at the office as a family,
Mm-hmm.
cleaning, hanging pictures. I mean, so
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
a mix of everything really. But, we're just trying to do our best. And I have this village really that
Mm-hmm.
like surrounds me. My sister, my parents, they're always helping.
Mm-hmm.
And
That makes a
so
big
I
difference
truly don't,
too.
Yeah.
yeah, it's huge. And I truly don't think I'd be able to do all this without my village, I
Mm-hmm.
call them, because it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Takes
So
a
I
true
guess that
village.
it kind of answers the question I was going to ask you about what systems or support help you manage the emotional and logistic challenges of
Mm-hmm.
mothership, of motherhood and leadership. I guess you would call it
It is
mothership,
kind of mothership,
Mothership.
Noel.
I truly, I think, some people they ask me all the time, like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I just do it. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
about it. Because
Mm-hmm.
if I sit and think too long, like, who knows where,
Yeah.
where I'll go. But I think just having this support system, and I think that in the beginning, that first year was probably the hardest.
Yeah.
I felt really challenged in the sense of I felt guilty when I wasn't with my kids, and I felt guilty if I wasn't here. And so it's really trying to come into my own skin of being like, it's okay to leave early to go see the Christmas play, and it's okay
Mm-hmm.
to, leave in the middle of the day to go have lunch with my daughter at her school or whatever it is. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, that's why I did this, really.
Yeah.
I bought a practice so that I can have the flexibility to be a mom and to give great patient care to people that need it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, the support of my husband, my family, helped me to be able to do all this.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think patients like to see that. I think they like to
Yeah.
see that it's family oriented and that you have a family and a life outside, and they like to be involved in the stories about your family. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that probably is a helpful thing for you in a way too.
It really is. And I think, where
Yeah.
we are specifically in Wheaton, it's very much, family oriented. It's just a very good culture in Wheaton. If you walk down our halls, we have family photos like along the walls. And
Mm-hmm.
so they feel like are seeing our kids kind of grow
Grow
up because
and
I change the
Yeah.
pictures out every now and then. And they're like, oh my gosh, like, is that the same baby? I'm like, yeah. And
mm-hmm.
so they're feeling like very involved in our lives
Yeah.
in that, to
Yeah.
that extent.
Nice.
I love that.
And I remember like last
I
month I
love
had to
that.
call a patient. I'm like, I'm really sorry, but my daughter last minute has this lunch
Mm-hmm.
harvest fest and I'm going. So can I reschedule our appointment? And they were like, absolutely, like
Yeah.
no problem. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for understanding, but I need to be there for my kids first. So
Yeah, I love
yeah,
that. And I
yeah,
think I think it's even a good example for staff too. I mean, I think that's where
absolutely.
people want to work. Like tomorrow I have pastries with parents on my schedule. And I remember
Yeah,
when I put it on there, Amanda was like, I love that you're going to that. And it's like, of course, if your kids have a baseball game, please block your schedule so you can make it there on time. That's like the culture that we
absolutely.
like to build in our office too. And so, yeah, I
Yeah.
love that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you hope your kids learn from watching you build and grow this practice?
I hope that they see that you can love your family and you can love work too.
Hmm. Hmm.
I have a lot of people ask me, like, do you feel guilty? And of course I do at times, but I think you can have both. I love what I do. Like
Yeah.
I love being a mom, but I really love being an audiologist and a practice owner too. And I think you can do both. It's
Hmm.
hard and it's hard work. But again, they're here on Sunday nights with us sometimes
Hmm.
and we put a movie on. They love running around the office and we're cleaning and they're helping and they're shredding papers or whatever. So I think just teaching them that with hard work, you can do both things or do, things that you love and
Hmm.
I think that's what I want to show my kids.
Yeah, and do them well and not feel like,
Yeah,
oh, mom's never
Exactly.
home because she loves her job so much, she's never home. It's like, no,
right.
they're like ingrained in
Yeah.
your career, which I love.
Yeah, and
Finding.
there are times where like I'll pick them up from preschool and I bring them back to the office and
Hmm.
they just think that's so fun and patients love seeing them like running around
Yeah,
and that's what we are here. So it's
yeah.
just very authentic.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's like we'll bring our dog. Our daughter's
Yeah,
grown, so she's not going to
yeah.
be coming, but our dog and patients love it when we bring our
Yeah.
dog.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So the
it's really
previous owner
great.
had a dog here and patients still talk about it. They're like, do you remember? I'm like, I wasn't here when the dog was around, but they love it. They just
Uh-huh.
think it's so cool. So
Yeah, like you said, it makes it more authentic, I feel like.
Yeah, and I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
too with corporate everything, everything's being
Hmm.
so many medical facilities are being bought by corporate entities.
Hmm.
And the person that's going there may feel like a number and not really
Hmm.
connected to the
Hmm.
facility. So I think keeping it like that, they makes them feel like they're more part of the world. Like they don't want to just be a number.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And we
Yeah.
do get asked a lot with the name the hearing doctors, like, oh, is
Hmm.
this like one of multiple locations? And I'm like,
Hmm.
no,
Hmm.
there's just one of us.
Yeah.
And then, we have some health hospitals in the area too, where patients will have to wait, a month or 2 months to be
Right.
seen, where they can call us and get in with a week or two.
Hmm.
And I think they just really appreciate that we're, trying to see them sooner, if they're not doing well. So I think that, makes them
Yeah.
feel appreciated.
Yes.
Yeah,
So let's
totally.
talk a little bit about your business mindset and your industry vision. So what principles guide your decisions as an owner? So I guess what is a priority as being an owner?
I think patient care first. So
Hmm.
I think transparency, I think being honest, I think, unfortunately, I think we see a lot of things out there, and when people come in, I just want to be honest with my patients. And I try to think too, like, would I do this for my dad, or would
Hmm.
I fit my husband with this? My husband wears hearing aids too, but would I recommend this to a family member or an aunt or an
Hmm.
uncle? And if the answer is no, then I'm not going to recommend it to my patient.
Right.
So I
Hmm.
think transparency, communication, just
Hmm.
being open and giving good patient care the best that we can.
Hmm.
It's a
And to that
great
Um,
too, I
principle.
also think saying no too. Like
Oh, yes, that's a good thought too.
mhm.
I'm
Yes.
learning that
Yeah.
that I don't have to accommodate to every patient.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that there are times where no is an okay answer. So
Hmm.
if someone's like, well, I got a free hearing test down the street,
Mm. Not
I'm
here.
sorry,
Not here.
not
Not
here.
What do you
here.
say,
And
I don't
Noelle?
feel
Not my
good about it.
pumpkin.
Yeah,
Noelle
you're
says,
not
not
my,
my pumpkin.
there's a book
yeah,
called The Pumpkin Plan. And so you have to decide, is that my pumpkin? So we always
right.
say,
Hmm.
nope, not my pumpkin.
And I
Yeah,
think in the beginning, as a new business owner, I'm like, I just want to make everyone happy. And
totally.
now I know it's only been like a year and a half, but I'm like,
Hmm.
no, like we
Hmm.
don't have to do
This doesn't
that
work
because
for
it
me.
doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't align with what we feel is
Yeah.
good patient care or whatever it is. So
Hmm.
I've really like come, I would say in the last couple months, it's been a
Hmm.
really good feeling to be like, that doesn't fit with what we want to do here, and that's
Hmm.
okay.
And you have
Yeah.
So
lots of other options out there. Go
Yeah.
elsewhere.
And
exactly.
you
Yeah.
wish them the
Right.
Hmm.
best, but and then if they do want to come back to you, they go under what your values and
Yeah.
Well, and
And they
I,
may
yes,
come
and
back.
I've had
Yeah.
patients say, I think I want to try Costco. And I'm like, you know what? That's okay. If you decide you want to come back, we will see you. Like, if that's
Hmm.
what you feel is right for you, that's your decision. I'm here to give
right.
you my recommendation and
Hmm.
best care. But if at any point you want to come back, please do.
Hmm. Hmm. What marketing or community strategies have worked well for you so far?
I think for us at the Hearing Doctors, being super involved in the community.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we get a lot of referrals from other patients. We
Mhm.
get a lot of referrals from being involved in the community, doing small events. We were just part of the Women in Business Expo in Wheaton. We're part of the chamber. We volunteer for actually in a few weeks, we're going to volunteer at our local food pantry. And so I
Mhm.
think just being involved in the community, we get a lot of
Totally.
people referring us that
Mhm.
way. And I think that that's the best, again, most authentic way that
Mhm.
we want to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like I built my business that way too, just getting out in
Yeah.
the community. I mean, you think, oh, is it
You do a lot of
as
that, yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like,
you do a
oh,
lot of that too,
is
Lindsay.
it
Yeah.
SEO? Is my website showing up number one? Is it, do I send out mailers? And it's like, really, if you just put the effort in to get out into your community to show people who you are, it's the authenticity that people just want to know who they're dealing with and want to feel comfortable telling people about
Absolutely.
you. So yeah, I
Yeah,
agree
and
with
I would
you.
say reviews too. I think
Yeah. Oh yeah.
getting people to share their experience that they had at your office.
Mhm.
So we get a lot of people. I'm like, how did you find us? Oh, well, Google, and then I read the reviews,
Yeah.
and then I decided I wanted to go to your office. So I think that's a
Yeah.
huge one too.
I
Yeah.
agree with that too.
Yes. So where do you see the biggest opportunities for private practice in the next few years?
I think that given that, like you mentioned, all these places are being bought up or all these ENTs are being
Mhm.
bought up, I think that it really is lacking from maybe a more centered approach. They're trying to rush patients through and
Yeah.
try and see as many patients as possible because that's what they need to do. But I
Mhm.
think in private practice, we can really give patients the attention and the care that they need. I truly think there's always going to be a need for audiology and audiologists.
Mhm.
It's always evolving and changing. And so I think that as practice owners, we need to evolve and change with things as they change.
Mhm.
But I think that being patient focused, I think
Mhm.
is really what's going to, help private practice stay alive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I,
I agree. I agree totally. Noelle, are you ready for rapid fire?
I am ready. Are you ready?
Ah!
Okay, Ashley, are you ready? What is one word that describes you and why?
I think brave.
Yeah,
Brave.
that's
Um,
a
I
good
like
one.
that.
I
Yeah.
think brave. Once I commit to something, I'm just all in, and I think
Mhm.
that takes being brave. So I would say
Mhm.
Yeah.
brave.
Mhm.
Yeah. What, if you could master any new skill overnight, what would it be?
Working with my eyes open. I think if I could have more I need 8 hours of sleep to function, and if I could just function on a little less sleep, I would get more done, I think. But I think that
Yeah,
would be really nice.
totally. That would be great. Where do you
No,
see hearing
no
healthcare
sleep.
10 years from now?
Oh gosh, I'm hoping that private practices are still thriving. Again, I think that technology is always changing, so I'm sure that that will shift. A little bit longer answer here, but I just had a gentleman come in. He's like, "Oh, I had my hearing tested over the phone. They told me I had severe to profound hearing
Oh,
loss." He
oh,
did not. So I
uh-huh.
think again, it's yes, there's all of these tools that are coming into play, but are they accurate and whatnot? So I think that, for audiologists, again, embracing the change, but in ways that will work and actually give a good patient care and
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Totally.
Yes. Oh, it's my turn. It's my
Your
turn to
turn,
ask the
Noelle. It's your
question.
turn.
What is a coffee order or another drink order that fuels you through ownership and motherhood and late nights at the office?
I'm all about the coffee, and I will take a Starbucks vanilla cream cold brew for
Yeah.
sure. I'm usually a grande, but as Lindsay and I talked, sometimes it's a Trent a day. So, I didn't even know that
Sometimes,
existed before Lindsay. So she taught me that
Like the
sometimes
Trenta
X, is it
is the
like
largest.
the
you have to feel
Stanley
it
one,
straight to the core.
Huge. Have you seen that little cartoon where the woman's walking out the door with like the huge garbage
Oh my God,
can kind of
bucket.
size like
Yeah.
Oh my God,
coffee
that's funny.
pig or water with her huge bag and
I know.
everything?
Well, I
Can't
know
be
I
good.
mentioned I need 8 hours of sleep, but I never get 8 hours. So there are
Yeah.
days where
When you need
Right.
it,
coffee is needed for
fuels
sure.
the heart and the brain, keeps us going.
Yes.
What is a sound that makes you happy?
Oh, my kids laughing.
Oh,
I
yeah, that's a
Oh,
fun one.
absolutely, when they're
that's a great
all
sound.
playing and like laughing, they're like real giggle. Like I just like explode. My heart
Hmm.
explodes.
Yeah, that's
Again,
great.
rare that they're all like playing
Giggling
like
Right.
together.
They're not yelling and screaming, they're laughing, but
but when they are, I like my heart explodes. It's the
Oh, I
best
yeah.
love
sound ever.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if money wasn't a concern, what would you do?
I think I would do this. I maybe not necessarily like see patients every single day, but I love having the practice. And if I could maybe expand like another one or two where I could
Mm-hmm.
spread the good patient-centered
Mm-hmm.
care, I think I would definitely do that. I really love this. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I
I
love that.
love
We've
that.
had a few people say that, and I feel like that's
Yeah,
Really? Yeah.
yeah, that's an ode to our profession that we're in a good
yeah,
place.
yeah.
What's one thing our profession could do better, either for patients or for each other?
I think collaborate. I
Mm-hmm.
think collaborating and being more of like a team approach as it to competitive
Yeah.
and I just
And
feel, I don't
the
know.
way they are on
There's,
some of the pages,
yeah.
like,
Oh
yeah,
my
Mm-hmm.
gosh. I'm like, guys, come on, be nice.
I know.
I
I
mean, I
know.
tell my 4-year-old and my 2-year-old as we walk into school every day, like, be kind today. And like, and we
Yeah.
have this, we do this whole be kind, be all these things. But I think being kind is such a big thing,
Yeah.
not just in audiology, but in general.
yeah,
But there's a couple audiologists in Illinois, and we're spread out, and we meet quarterly and have dinner
Mm-hmm.
and just all transparency, but we support each other. So if someone asks, like, what are you doing that's working here?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like oh, I don't want to tell her. It's like, hey, like, let's help each other.
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
think that that's so nice and important for our
Mhm.
profession. It's
To
Mm-hmm.
have
just so
somebody that you
sweet.
can call on when you're like, I wonder what
Yeah.
somebody else would do. Being by yourself sometimes is a
Yeah.
really difficult thing as an
It
audiologist.
Yeah.
is.
I mean, you
Yeah.
have
And
your
I know
sister
Lindsay,
somewhat,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
Well, in having Taylor, my sister, is awesome, right? But like as there's a lot of things that maybe she's not involved with like business wise. And
Mm-hmm.
so
right, right.
like I'll text Lindsay sometimes or
Mm-hmm.
this other group of audiologists in Illinois, and it's sometimes it's like two words like, do you do this? And then it's
Yeah.
like, yes, yes, no, like or
Yeah,
whatever. But
Yeah.
having that like
What do
really
other people
quick,
do? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
help. And
Yeah.
yeah,
it's been really nice to have that
Uh-huh.
lifeline.
yeah,
I know it's so nice, and I feel like that's another
Lindsay
like
will forever
we're
be my lifeline.
yeah.
I'm just here.
I
I
feel
feel
like
like
she's
that's a
a lot of
resounding
people's, right?
like our conversation last week was there was another young owner
Yeah,
who was like, I kind of feel on an island. And I feel like that's
Yeah,
kind of why Noelle and I are doing this, just to
yeah,
heighten the conversation of women, heighten the conversation of practice ownership to make people feel like you're not alone. There's so many of us who have like one office, we're the single owner. And there's, I feel like so many of us open to the conversation. So yeah, that's
yeah.
kind of what we're
definitely.
trying to do here.
Yeah. What you guys
Yeah.
are doing here is great and I love it.
Hmm,
It's great.
Thank you.
thanks.
Now, the last question is perfect based on what you just told me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
which B fits you best? Be kind, be brave, be curious, be bold, or be happy?
So while I love be kind, I think be brave
Uh-huh.
is my
Yeah.
B.
Yeah, I
Because I
love that.
think it's a scary world out there, and there were plenty of times like during the process of purchasing the practice where I went to my husband in tears, and I was like, I
Mhm.
think we need to back out. I think we can't do this, and he's like, you've always wanted this. This is
Mhm.
right. Like we got
This
this,
is
and he
your
gave me that
chance.
extra
Yeah.
confidence
Yeah.
Yeah,
to be brave. But I think it's huge, and going after what you want. And I think that's super important.
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Love
thank you,
that.
Ashley. Before we close today, we're going to just do our Be Curious segment on just the reasoning behind why you should join your state association. So
Mhm.
we've had this conversation before, but there's so much happening in the world of audiology and grassroots state associations need you.
Mhm.
There's Lindsey and I are both part of our state association as presidents, and we know the work it takes to achieve just little things that may come up. And
Mhm.
we just want to emphasize if you have a state organization in your state, join, make
Join
it
it.
a goal for 2026.
Mhm.
Yes, be
Absolutely.
curious about that. So, in closing, thank you, Ashley, for sharing your
Mhm.
story, the pivots, the grit, the heart, and the beautiful chaos of growing a practice and a
Mhm.
family at the same time. And to our listeners, follow the hearing doctors in Wheaton. And as always, be kind, be brave, and be curious. So thank you all so much. Thank you, Ashley,
Thank
for
you so
being
much.
with us today. I enjoyed getting to know you better, and I'm
Thank you
looking
so
forward to
much.
seeing all you're going to do in the future.
Thank you very
So
much.
Thanks, Ash.
and we'll see you next time on the Sound Sisters.